I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers.
Here.
Allenboss.
Present.
Ingalls.
Here.
King.
Here.
Mayor Folkins.
Here. At this time, if we could have a motion to approve the agenda this evening as it's been presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Allenboss.
Yes.
Ingalls.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. This time, we'll open the floor for public comment. We do ask if you come forward that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Not seeing anyone, we'll close public comment and move to the approval of the consent agenda. And this evening, we do have the minutes from the work session that was held on May 16th, along with the minutes from the regular meeting that we had on the 16th.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Councilmember Ingalls.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Allenboss.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. And next up, we have a community spotlight. This evening, Marcus, would you like to introduce?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. This evening, I'm happy to introduce to Cadillac City Council and the public accordingly, the leadership team, if you will, from the Cadillac Visitors Bureau. As you'll see later on in your agenda tonight, there's actually a request from the Bureau regarding a collaborative project that's underway for wayfinding related signage and signage placement that the Bureau is looking at sponsoring for us. But this is an opportunity, as Kathy and I had discussed, for her to really sort of reintroduce the Visitors Bureau to the city and talk about some of the initiatives that are underway. So.
Yes, thank you so much. We do have just a few slides, and I guess they are behind you. Or do you have screens,
I can
right?
see them there.
Okay, wasn't sure if it was on screens. So just a couple of things that were nice just to have as visuals. So thank you so much for having us here. I've been here a few times the past few months, but I wanted to bring the rest of our team. So Lindsay Westorp and Marcy Hensley have joined our team, so we are a small team. Anya Wing, as you might know, retired a couple of months ago once we got these two ladies on board. So we've been working on quite a few things the past few months, and we wanted to share some of the snapshots. So if you wouldn't mind flipping, like I said, there's just more visual shots here of just, so the first was the Pure Michigan Trail Town designation. So if you'll recall, I was back here several months ago making the request of council to approve the application for the Pure Michigan Trail Town. So we were one of 3 that were chosen, making still a small group within the state of Michigan that are noted as Pure Michigan Trail Towns. So we were awarded that in April at the Governor's Conference on Tourism. Marcus was there as well. I'm not sure why we don't have the picture of it, but Marcus and I were also there.
The camera.
So we were up on stage and able to accept it. And then, as you know, we were able to also have, we were honored to have Governor Whitmer here as part of the Chamber of Commerce annual governor's breakfast, but we were also able to make that designation part of the White Pine Trailhead project. It was just a really, really good timing. So we are excited to see the progress going pretty quickly on the White Pine Trailhead. And we're also working with Connie from Pride and Newhoff on kiosk designs, and you'll see those later. We are also working as related to trails. We've got another 10,000 Trails and Rivers brochures that'll be printed very soon. We made it for the first time last year. Blew through 10,000 of them. It was very, very popular. This time we've actually added the SISMA, the North Country Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area, and Vicky Sawicki working with them to add in language about invasive species and things like that. While we're educating people about trails and bringing people here, we also have the responsibility for stewardship. So we're making sure we're including that kind of language. And we're also really hopefully related to motorized trails. We're waiting to hear back from the USDA Rural Development about a grant focusing on ORV framework in marketing. So hopefully we'll hear about that soon, because ORV is continually growing, and so we're interested to see how that can work for our area. If you wouldn't mind flipping to the next one. So social district has a really great feedback from the locations with the rollout. They're excited to collectively market this with us. We've been using QR codes on site to help drive traffic and for information on frequently asked questions, other places to go, maps, working on cohesive marketing pieces like a brochure that will be printed, a couple thousand of those very soon, and maps that are already being distributed, as well as additional marketing assets like drink coasters, sandwich boards, sidewalk decals, and things like that that'll be out more in the community. We've already had a lot of paid and free media hits already, with a lot more to come. We've already been featured in My Brew Trail magazine, had a podcast interview with MLive, and actually had an interview today in a station called My Michigan TV, and in all of those conversations we're talking about all of these things coming together. So thank you, Councilmember King, for your early lead on getting the social district moving along. Thursday nights, I'm sorry if you wouldn't mind flipping the next one. Okay, so we've been working with Tim of Upbeat Cadillac. As you know, that series has been going for 27 years, and it's struggled a bit, but we are working with them with some rebranding and marketing to help reach new audiences, listeners, and donors. In conjunction, we've also been working with Marla Courtney to promote the Thursday After Hours Market, which is going to be in conjunction with Upbeat Cadillac, by providing some marketing and branding for that as well. We also applied for and received the first Michigan Retailers Association Buy Nearby Grant Award for $7,500. And with that, we'll work with a media company called Nexstar, who owns, it's one of the largest conglomerates, but putting some media and some resources behind that in conjunction with Michigan Retailers Association to launch on June 23rd. So all of that big push together with the Upbeat, the Thursday After Hours Market, and Social District is obviously the goal of driving foot traffic downtown throughout the Social District and the lakefront areas on weekday nights. So as you'll be seeing in a bit, the tourism information kiosks that we're working on are the first step down a longer road of community wayfinding, branding collaboration that we're working on with the city and local partners. And again, lots of really good things ahead. So if you have any questions.
Kathy,
yes.
may I throw out, Mayor?
Yes.
Just a couple of quick things. One,
Sure.
Thank you very much for all of your efforts. Right, It's certainly a team approach, and it's really great to see that. I had a question, and then I wanted to make a statement. The question was, you mentioned about an invasive species project. Do you think that could help get us situated for grants? We currently, manage Lake Cadillac and invasive species in that manner, but I realize that it's more than just the lake, and that I'm thinking might help us provide a stronger sort of foundation or foothold in applying for future grants and other things ourselves. So that would be great if we could connect on that. Yeah. And then the second thing is, talking about grants and knowing that you guys have done a good job getting some outside funding in. It came to my attention that you're also helping with Upbeat Cadillac and providing them the necessary, ability of sort of getting the facilities that they need. They rent, as council knows, a facility from the city for a couple $100, a season, and I believe you guys have forged a partnership there too, which is just
we're covering that cost. It is a minimal amount, but it's just, again, it's a struggling series.
It's a good example of community first. And
absolutely.
Really,
and it is. It's a nice, this is one of those things where, like with the Upbeat Cadillac series, it's not just a one-time thing. This is a whole series, and this is a whole part of a bigger picture. The social district, the market, and I don't want to be remiss in not mentioning, the farmers market. I mean, this is specifically this, but just that energy for year-round, specifically summer for this, but year-round. So, and that's where we're happy to be able to contribute, where $150 for somebody who's struggling to pull all these things together to create this series. For us, we're able to support and, again, do all of these types of things that Mr. Scully was not able to do himself. So, but and I do have samples I can just kind of pass along, and we can get more copies of these. We've got so that's the flyer. We'll have the larger 11 by 17 flyers. We also have they have rebranded their support. The support mailer, just asking for donations and requests and those kinds of things to kind of rebrand and refresh and update a bit, and so to hopefully get them up and going a bit more with their donor base. So, yeah.
These look great.
Thank you. Thank you. We've been when I was looking, but I mean, it's been cohesive. The brochure, the decal. I mean, it's just all been one.
Did you guys come up with the social district logo, or is that something that the
Yes,
city
we did. We were able to take.
through the
Yeah, so the city has the logo that was used through Liquor Control Commission, so we had to take, if you wouldn't mind scooting back, one more, okay. So try to incorporate, I can't really see very well on here, but like the crosshatch design, so the social district or social zone, which I think was kind of first came out. So still incorporating that crosshatch design that is prevalent in the architecture of like the market and the city park and the arches. And so taking that kind of that crosshatch design there to kind of keep that moving forward, but then also the social district with a C is a bit of a play off of the branding that we have for the Visitors Bureau and some of the things that we're doing. So this will be just one more of the brochures that we have. So this will be printed and essentially alongside our Trails and River map, the morel mushroom, the old Cadillac, the old Indian Trail, the fall color. I mean, that series. And again, you'll see in a bit later what we're going to do with the kiosks for some of those locations. But it's just kind of creating that whole comprehensive branding across the board. So, yeah. So please, anytime you have questions, please let us know, and we're happy to help out and come back when we have more good news to share. So, but again, we'll talk a bit more about the kiosks. So thank you so much.
That was really nice.
Thanks.
Okay, then that moves us to communications, Sandy.
Yes, it's being recommended to approve the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on July 24th, 2022 for the Cadillac Rotary Club Luke Winslow King concert.
I would make a motion to approve the closure of Lake Street between Harris Street and Cass Street from 6 to 10 p.m. on July 24th, 2022 for the Cadillac Rotary Club Luke Winslow King concert. And thank you for the Rotary Club for that.
support.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Ellenboss.
Yes.
Ingalls.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
Being recommended to approve the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Thursdays from June 23rd through August 25th, 2022 for the Upbeat Cadillac concert.
I'll make that motion to approve the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Thursdays between June 23rd, 2022 through August 25th, the same year, for the Upbeat Cadillac concerts.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Shippers,
Yes.
Ellenboss.
Yes.
Ingalls.
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. City managers report.
Thank you, and Mayor, members of the City Council. Sandy, do you happen to have the graphic, or should I just refer council to their packet?
Yeah, we've got our
Oh, yeah. The sign, it's okay. So in your packets, there's a rendering of the wayfinding signage, and this request from the Visitors Bureau is to install 6 tourism information type kiosk signs within the city of Cadillac. The general locations are at the White Pine Trailhead, the northwest corner of the market, and in the stone-filled landscape area, the Chestnut Street Boat Launch area, which will actually replace a kiosk, an older kiosk that's already there. Similarly, at the Kenwood Park on the beach side to again replace an older kiosk that's already there. near Mitchell and Mason Streets, which is where the Visitors Bureau office currently is located, which is commonly referred to as the old City Hall building. And then another one near the Rotary Performing Arts location. Staff has been working with the Visitors Bureau in terms of the siting of these locations, as well as in terms of the sign itself, the device, and we're really happy with what we've been seeing, and would recommend that City Council this evening approve these general locations. As things get closer, we'll be working with the Visitors Bureau and zeroing in precisely where X marks the spot. But in terms of that, we're really happy with the relationship, and the Visitors Bureau is looking at funding this project in terms of the acquisition of the hardware, through their own resources. So
They look great.
They do look great. We've needed this. I love those things you can just put your camera on and
sure.
it just opens up the whole known universe.
The other thing I would obviously like to mention is that we might need. We might have some hiccups along the way with regard to MDOT, but we'll obviously, work through those
Arm
as best
wrestle
as we
with
can.
them.
Yes. Yeah, I don't anticipate anything being negative. It just might be another layer of approvals that we might need. We believe that council's affirmation this evening would be all that we need from council. It's certainly possible MDOT might come back and ask for a different or formal resolution of sorts on their form. So if that happens, I apologize, but we'll just have to bring it back.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the request by the Cadillac Visitors Bureau to install 6 tourism informational kiosks within the proposed general locations. Final locations would be approved through a collaborative effort between the Public Works and Community Development departments in the city and MDOT if necessary.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Allenboss,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. The next item is a request that came through from the North Country Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area. And that organization, as the communication elaborates, works on projects and programs such as assisting in identifying invasive species, guidance on treating invasive species and buying herbicides, invasive species treatment demonstrations, a strike team for hire to control high priority invasive species on private property, and other outreach and educational events. And what the request is actually for the last one, which is essentially outreach and educational events. They're requesting to have set up on the grass on the east side of Chestnut Street, right by the boat launch area, on July 1st from about 8:30 in the morning to 3 p.m., essentially a booth or a kiosk where they can provide complimentary literature and assistance advising boaters, how to, do what they can to provide, to prevent invasive species from entering into our waterways, and how to clean your boat off and things of that nature.
That's good. I like their description of cool swag.
Yes, yes.
I think that's great.
That was a copy paste from when they called and said we'd like to do this. We said, well, could you let us know what you're thinking of doing? Oh yeah, we're going to provide cool swag. So we thought we'd put that
That
in.
think it's
usually will
great.
sell it.
Yeah.
Not just swag, but cool.
Cool swag. Yeah, exactly.
I'll make a motion to approve the request from the North Country Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area to set up a booth on July 1st, 2022 as presented.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Ingalls,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Allenboss.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The next item is a out-of-state travel request. This one coincidentally happens to be for me. We have done several in the past for other staff, but this one again is for the International City Managers Association's annual convention. It's taking place this fall in Ohio, and the request is to allow me to participate in that professional development series.
I would make an Ohio joke, but Columbus is very nice. So.
It was in Oregon last year, but I didn't make Oregon, so.
I will make the motion to approve the out-of-state travel request for the city manager as presented.
Support.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. I think that continuing education for the staff is really important, so I appreciate the council's support.
Me too.
Okay, that was our agenda. So that takes us to the second public comment for this evening. Not seeing anyone, we'll close public comment and move to the good of the order if anyone has anything. Go ahead.
No, I'm quiet
No,
tonight.
just move
I'm
along.
actually quiet.
Okay.
Oh,
Please do.
I noticed you're
Always
you're
that
not.
side of the room.
I gotta go home?
Wow. I'm like, let me catch my breath.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the Cadillac High School graduates who graduated on Sunday, and especially the 4 Cadillac Mayor's Youth Council members who graduated. That'd be Isabella, Maddie, Allie, and Haley that graduated on Sunday. And with 4 graduating, that means there's lots of room for other youth council members. If you are or know of someone high school age who lives in or adjacent to the city of Cadillac and would like to be part of a group that does pretty cool things in the community, please contact the city. Go to the website. There's a link there to get information about the Cadillac Mayor's Youth Council. I'd also like to thank Marcus and Jeff and the fire department and the police department. At our last meeting, we got a tour of the city. We have a few new members, and so Jeff took us around to all of the different facilities that the city does. And I got to tell you, not many people know just how much the city does and how essential it is. And to have these young folks, going to the water treatment plant and going into the.
It wasn't too stinky.
Well, there was a part of it that was like, oh, we should have worn masks. But mostly it was very fascinating, and we really appreciate the time and effort it took to do that. So thank you for that.
What grade? I mean, you mentioned high school kids. Is there a certain grade?
Like 9th through 12.
9th through 12th? Okay. I changed my mind. I do have something to say.
Of course.
I'd like to thank you for Upbeat Cadillac. My wife and I go there every Thursday night in the summer. I'd also recommend August 18th. Paul Nelson Band's going to be there. It's amazing. He's a great guitar player. I mean, they're all good bands, but we have our favorites. James Armstrong, July 14th. Planet D Nonette is going to be there August 4th. We've seen them a couple times. But Paul Nelson, August 18th, mark it on your calendar. He's very, very good. Thank you.
Okay, if no one else, we do need to go into closed session tonight, so we'll need a motion to get us there.
Where is it?
I will make a motion to adjourn to closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268A to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of the city manager, a public officer, and employee at his written request, and to discuss a written confidential legal opinion with the city attorney, and to invite Jeff Dietland, the Director of Utilities, accordingly.
I'll second that.
2 separate things.
Councilmember Shippers.
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. Motion to bring us back into open session,
I'll
please.
make a motion to return to open session.
Support?
Councilmember Allenboss,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, so as in summation, this evening we did have the opportunity to review with the city manager his annual performance evaluation. And, some of the observations this evening were that overall, between Marcus's self-evaluation and the majority of the council, that we all kind of landed being in the same place in regards to his performance, and many, many good things that are going on. The council did have, some discussion with him about, a couple of things that we all collectively think that we could do better. And I felt like it was good discussion. And there's a lot of good things going on. And so at this point, we do have a couple of things that we need to talk about in open session. Because Marcus has a couple of asks for us in this regard. Would anyone else like to say anything before we get to that?
Wait for the discussion.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, as I tend to say, I think annually, thank you for everybody's support. It really is a privilege and an honor to be your city manager, as I'm nearing 12 years here in this community. I had the honor of celebrating my daughter's high school graduation this past weekend, and my mom and mother-in-law and my brother and other family members from Illinois and Washington, D.C. Descended upon our community for basically 3 days. And some of them haven't been here since just before COVID, or frankly, a little while before COVID. Some haven't been here in nearly eight years, give or take. And they all resoundingly were just really surprised in a very good way about how noticeable the community has transformed. Even for those that were here just frankly a couple of years ago, seeing new stores opening up and new restaurants and places to go and sort of be a part of the community, especially some of the public places downtown in the Commons area, and seeing the new investment on the West End. As much as I would like to say that it's all me, it really isn't, and it starts with this body being supportive of those policy initiatives that put us in that position. And so it's what makes the job of a city manager really worthwhile, because while there's certainly a lot of issues that we deal with that we prefer not to have to, whether it's operational or personnel, you name it, or disgruntled citizens or customers of our systems, it's seeing people enjoying our public places and even the private places that come out of that growth and that development that really make it worthwhile, being able to change the lives of people. So as I bring that back to a close, I would just like to say it's because of the support of this body and the staff that we've been able to accomplish these things, and certainly look forward to doing as much as we can in the future to making this even a more special community. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right. So let's get to the specifics of that we need to talk about in open session tonight as part of the annual review. First of all, Marcus is asking this year for a 4% cost of living, which would take him from $111,177.17 annually to $115,624.26. In addition to that, he is also asking for the 2% that was awarded on a one-time basis to everyone else in the organization, which for Marcus, that would be an amount of $2,312.49.
And just, if you don't mind me jumping in.
I don't.
We approved a 3.5% cost of living adjustment for all non-union staff, along with a one-time inflationary premium based on 2% of that adjusted amount. That'll be awarded to the non-union staff effective July 1, and then pursuant to the union staff signing off on what will be future letters of understanding, they'll also get the 2% premium. All the different unions have different scales currently.
Okay.
So my request was to just follow that same suit with the adjustment, instead of being 3.5, being on that end. And then my other request is a revision to my current contract regarding my auto. I currently receive an auto allowance. My request was to revert back to the provision of a city vehicle for both business use and use during non-working hours as well. And then in the interim period of time between now and whenever said vehicle may be available, which we actually bid out because the process we knew could take a while for anything to be delivered, to increase the auto allowance from $400 to $500, which of course would go back when the vehicle would be available. So, but before you even get to looking at awarding the vehicle and whatnot, you'd first need to consider the request, as the mayor was describing.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and open up some discussion about the compensation request.
My thought is, neither of the requests bother me. I need to know what the cost is. Because I think the vehicle is a good idea and it makes sense with the travel, and with the vehicle would also come gas privileges. So there's a huge value and cost of living benefit to having that. And I kind of really need to know what that number is. Hopefully Owen can give that to us. So then we can relate back on the wage request. Because I don't think we can just blanketly say we'll give a full wage increase without also considering the vehicle and the gas, because there's a huge benefit to that also and a cost to the city.
There, and just for frame of reference too, I would be subject to paying taxes on all.
I understand that. I'm just saying I need to be able to grasp what the cost is.
Do you probably don't have a number off the top of your head unless you need to think on it, what an average, I mean, right now we're in an unprecedented time, but you know what a gas bill might be for another staff member that has a take-home vehicle? I'm thinking maybe.
I mean, I haven't done that specific research,
Yeah.
but you know, at 15,000 miles, if you get 25 miles a gallon, you're using about 600 gallons of gas in a year.
Right.
At, you know, a couple $1,000s, $2,400 for 15,000 miles. So it'd probably be a little bit more than that. Our
Plus
insurance as a fleet policy is, you know, a couple $100 for a year per vehicle because we insure them as a fleet. So that's pretty reasonable. Repair costs are difficult to estimate. You know, you'd have a few years of warranty where you'd just be doing some fairly simple oil changes and a tire replacement here or there. I can attest, I have a Chrysler van. It's got 275,000 miles on it, so I think it's got some, you know, it's something that's pretty good longevity. So beyond that, that's probably a baseline from there, I would say.
So a couple $100 a year per vehicle for insurance, like what?
As a fleet, yeah, I think it's like $250. We average it out.
It's pretty good.
A year.
Is that something though we can get a number on, so we're not guessing on it?
I mean, sure. Yep. I don't think you pay a certain amount for the whole list of automobiles. It doesn't break it down per vehicle. So that's why I said we kind of average it out. So, you know, we have some vehicles that are insured for $1 million, you know, fire trucks.
Fire trucks.
And then we have,
For example, I
you know,
just looked at a compensation package for a client, and they're provided with a car, insurance, and gas, and they literally came up with the value per year of that benefit for that employee. That's what I'm looking for.
But are you asking for the value of that or for the cost to the city?
Well, it's the cost to the city of what we're.
So that's what,
and it's all based on estimates, right? Because do you factor the cost of the vehicle over 10 years or 5 years? It makes a pretty dramatic difference. You know, do you estimate 15,000? I mean, I can put something together in a chart, but it's all going to be, you know, assumptions and.
I get that, but right now we know what the benefit is per month. It's $400 per month, and we're saying that when we were talking, it could be an expense because of $5 a gallon gas of over $1,000 a month if we were to try to do
just an increase in allowance. So I just like a better feel, and I think it's a good ask. I'm not, but I'm saying I think it's our responsibility to know what that harder number is, engaging the compensation also.
Do you get reimbursed for the gas now
No,
that you use in your vehicle for work?
no.
Okay.
You just get a straight
I
mileage
just,
fee.
so currently I get an auto allowance of $400 a month, and that's it.
And that
So
covers, it has to
it-
cover everything.
Yeah.
Not even close.
That's.
Yeah, no,
that's
that,
great.
and that's why I think
So-
this is a good idea.
Yeah.
This is a
Not
really
even
good
close.
idea. And I don't think that, personally, I don't think that a chart or, an estimate of what it's going to cost specifically to the city, if you're talking about adding something to a fleet, insurance isn't going to be a lot. The vehicle will join the fleet, so it's going to be an asset, even now. And in terms of then adding gas to it, that you just did some math on that, and it's an estimate, and it would be an estimate no matter what. So I
Except
don't,
when you're thinking of a compensation package and making sure that someone's, how much of a cost in living benefit is it to have a car with that gas? I think there is a great benefit to it, and I want to consider that in the compensation.
Were
package.
you thinking about 3,000? Is that what the number was that you were estimating?
Well, just, averaging,
Mm-hmm.
15,000 business miles
Mm-hmm.
or total miles.
Sure. Yeah.
At 25 miles a gallon is,
Right.
check the math, but, 600 gallons of gas. So,
Well, and
usually I double check and triple check before,
Right.
so I'm
Right.
just trying to do this
but
kind of.
600 times 5. which
Yep.
Hopefully won't be there for long.
So depending on what happens with those prices and.
So about $3,000 annually on a potential fuel cost.
So it's, right now, it's $4,800 a year is the $400 per month.
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying it's going to be less than that. with gas.
This is just the gas.
Yeah. the gas.
Just the gas,
Yeah.
okay.
This is just the gas.
The value of the
And you could
product.
even throw the insurance there, but we're not
Yeah,
talking
the
about
car-
the price of the vehicle.
the vehicle
the
is a lot
depreciation
more
of the
than
vehicle,
that,
yeah.
Mhm.
Are we plugged into the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for 45 for a particular reason?
So
Is there any way anybody's thought about a hybrid SUV? Toyota?
They're-
I mean,
They're
More
more money.
I've been shopping, big guy.
they're,
looking at
30,000.
looking at an all-wheel drive vehicle that could carry 7 to 8 occupants,
he wants to be able to haul us.
you can get a hybrid
Yeah.
full-size SUV, but you're talking 60,000 plus for.
He needs a vehicle that, when he's moving around the city, that he's actually able to take, visitors or
staff.
people from the industrial fund, council members from site to site, which he hasn't been able to do that with the vehicle that he has now.
Well, when it's running, I am, like I just did last week.
Right, you did with the youth.
With
Council.
the
Okay, but
kids, yeah.
those are things we
Right.
want to consider, I think, in the vehicle that we're talking about for the city manager. That's what we want to use the vehicle for.
Right.
We also don't have a vehicle like that currently available for any city use. And even though this would be for my exclusive use, it certainly doesn't mean that other, city staff couldn't use it from time to time to do other things that they may need with it. And the thought also is that pick a magic number, 5 years down the road, it gets put into the fleet. We're still using vehicles that are 20 years old. Granted, they look 20 years old in some instances, but we would basically keep it until the tires fell off. And so having something that would be able to handle northern Michigan weather and road conditions, coupled with a size to accommodate a group of people, would really be the ideal situation. There's only two manufacturers currently, it's Chrysler and Toyota, that make a vehicle that's a minivan versus a full-size SUV that offers an all-wheel drive platform. And
This has a
looking at-
third row seat, does it have?
Yes. And so, in looking at those two, we thought looking at the Chrysler versus the Toyota may have been the better way of going, so.
Yeah,
Because they're made in America, too.
I think the car is a good idea. I do think, like what Steve said, I've always been of the opinion that Marcus was underpaid, that we weren't paying him enough. And I think he deserves to be compensated fairly for his talents and his experience and the investment he brings to the community. I think this is the first time I've been on council that we're putting together a raise benefit package that puts you where you need to be. But after a year of this, it would be nice to see a better breakdown of the benefit package, whether it's the insurance, how much gas mileage, how much the insurance for the actual vehicle was as a line item. Because, this, like I said, the number we're getting to now with the raise, if we end up at 115, plus a vehicle, this is where I think you should be. I've been reading, the articles about the new hires, the transfers, Northern Michigan, all around here, and I'm very comfortable with this. But next time, I will need to see, some numbers. Maybe we can break it down a little better when we have this conversation. But yeah, I'm okay with all of this.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion if there's no more discussion?
What type of
Mike, do you have any guidance? What type of motion do you want to make, I guess is what we need to. Is it is, as presented, or do you, Steve has other thoughts, what?
Yeah, I'll throw in on that, Mayor,
Okay.
just if it helps. I really think our fiduciary responsibility means to know, we need to know the exact numbers to approve it. And while I agree in concept with these, it'd be my inclination to table it so that Owen could bring us back the information. This is kind of the example I was talking about before, is having information to make an educated decision on. I'm uncomfortable guessing at what our costs are, what the benefit package value is. I think I'm fine with the concept, but not without the numbers to say this is the cost of the package to the city and to the citizens of Cadillac.
how also, if I'm reading this recommended action doesn't help me, only helps me so much. If we're switching out and eliminating a vehicle allowance, right, and including a vehicle
Can,
in the contract?
Or changing
Mike,
the contract.
can you help with,
How to do this?
how to make a motion?
Yeah, so let's just, I suppose, talk about what's currently being considered, right? Which is, for just the sake of argument, we'll say that the ask provisions, right, of the revised compensation, which I think is a change in the salary and the elimination, the temporary increase of the car allowance until such time as a vehicle can be acquired. So I think as long as the motion includes those specifics, I would amend then the employment agreement, and then the council could specify those inclusions and authorize the mayor to sign it if the council wants to move forward. So whatever the terms of that are, as long as I have sufficient direction from the council of what to include in there, I'm okay with that. I'll just modify the existing contract on the compensation side. All the other terms, I think, are going to remain the same. As
Yeah,
I-
we haven't talked about anything else, I don't think.
Yeah, as I understand it. Does that help?
Well, I think it depends on what
Yeah,
council
Very
wants to
quick,
go,
I-
you know.
If this is me, and I'm just talking out loud, because we're just considering this for the first time, we learned about it tonight. we have an increase in salary. We have the one-time payment that would be considered just that,
Right.
kind of like a little bonus payment.
Not going to base.
Yeah, and then we have the change in relation to the vehicle policy and package, which I think we need a number for, to say what we're approving.
And I perhaps we're kicking a dead horse, but to try to clarify that part of it, my request on that end would be for there to be a temporary $100 adjustment per month until such time that a vehicle for my exclusive use, both for business and during non-working hours, could be provided. And then when that comes in, that would go away. The part going away would be in reference to the auto allowance in its entirety.
So it'd be your personal car too?
Yes.
Okay.
There's
And-
precedent for that.
Oh, I don't think there's a problem with that, but I think we need to know what we're approving and what the cost of what we're approving is.
And the, dare I call it, back of the envelope math from our finance director, estimating based on current gas prices with, 15,000 miles a year, you're looking at about a $3,000 fuel cost. And based on the way that our fleet insurance works, the estimate is approximately a $200 average per unit. You mentioned you don't
Yeah,
believe.
Edmunds
Yeah.
does an estimate total cost of ownership, which I believe would be what we would use to develop this very number, because it's all an assumption. And so the estimate from Edmunds, and that's with a $1,300 a year insurance cost, is between $9,500 and $10,100 per year. So you can take a little bit off of that because our insurance is a little bit less because we're paying on a fleet policy. So you're talking, $800 a month would be probably a reasonable estimate, and that's based on 15,000 miles per year, and it's based on a 5-year estimate. So going back and doing these calculations, this would be what we would use and where we would end up anyway.
But you'd be able to put something together for us that we actually could have before the next meeting to actually consider numbers rather than us guessing at the taxpayer dollar.
I don't think, are you guessing?
I'm just reading from the internet.
Yeah, so you're
research by
you're
Edmunds.
researching it and giving us this information here, right? Would it be different if you gave it to us in 2 weeks?
Not this number.
Again,
I recognize what
I'm
you're
not-
asking with the whole.
I'm not- I'm just saying, this is part of our fiduciary responsibility. We have to have information, be able to digest it, look into it, and then make a decision. Love Owen. Owen knows that we're flying by the seat of our pants right now. And I don't think that's our responsibility as council. Our responsibility is tougher than that.
And, I would, I guess, throw this out, if it's okay, if I may. I don't mean to talk over anybody, just looking for the high sign that it's okay to continue to babble for a minute. Yes, okay. Sorry, I was looking at you, Carla. Should council feel comfortable moving forward with the compensation adjustment, including the temporary adjustment to the automobile allowance. I know that there is some timing concerns regarding acquisition just due to supply chain issues of a vehicle, making sure that one is actually ordered and secured. It could be possible for us to get some additional information done rather quickly this week, maybe even call a special meeting before the next go-around of our meetings happens, to address the concerns. And I don't mean it like in a negative way when I say concerns, but to provide that additional information, just to have it. If that's something that council would be willing to do, I know that Mayor and I have been able to, to get council back together, relatively speaking, in short order for other issues and topics.
And I don't mind a special meeting for it at all. I think that we can always apply this retroactively to the start of the contract. So that's where I guess I don't feel the pressure that way.
Well, I think that it's, the timeliness is involved in, it takes a long time to get a vehicle these days.
I am going to make a motion, and I don't know if this will be adequate or not, but I'm going to make the motion that we approve the change to salary for a 4% increase, that we approve the 2% one-time inflationary pay, that we increase the vehicle allowance to $200 instead of $100, or by 200 instead of 100 to $600 total, not the 500 you were asking for, and that we move forward with the. This is what I want to word it. I would like to have another chance at looking at the vehicle thing. I'd like to move forward with it. I'd like to have another meeting. I'd like to see Owen's work, and I'd like to be able to prove it soon. So I don't know if I quite how I want to word that.
I think that's it.
I think that you did. I think
Yeah. So I want to increase the vehicle allowance to 600, and then move forward with the discussion. I don't know. I know we probably shouldn't buy a car till we see the numbers. But
Correct.
Let's do that then. That's my motion.
I support that.
Councilmember Ingalls,
Yes.
King,
No.
Shippers,
Yes.
Ellenboss,
No.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes. Okay, motion carries.
So we're gonna get that information and then meet
Call
and
And I'd
talk
like to
about the
do
car.
that within the next week, if we could do that, please, before our next meeting. Does that work for everybody?
I apologize for asking this question, but point of clarification I wanted to throw out was typically my adjustments have been retroactive.
Oh, and to make that,
2016.
yeah, I'm sorry, and all of these,
I know this will probably require another vote of council, but
Okay,
I will make a second motion to make that retroactive to May
May what?
what is the date?
May
16th?
May 16th,
is the normal.
as we have always done.
And I'll support that too.
Councilmember King,
No.
Shippers,
Yes.
Ellenboss,
No.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, thank you, everyone.
And we should be able to get the information maybe even later this week. You know,
Please let us know.
Get you guys, is anyone traveling this week is the question.
Oh,
What do you think?
No.
Yep.
I know-
We're all grounded.
we're all here.
Yeah.